Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Gaming on the mic here. We're coming at you with some USBL action here on MLB The Show 21, and we got a few set of games for you guys here today. And we're going to start things off here on the West Coast, where something surprising is developing over here. Denver does have the worst record in the USBL still. They are taking on the San Francisco Seals, who are currently second place in the NL West, but that being said, though, Denver, won the first two games of this series. They have a chance to potentially sweep San Francisco, and that would be really good, at least, get a good morale booster here in the city of Denver, because right now, starting 8-22 after 30 games, I know it's a really long season, but they have not been off to a very good start whatsoever. They got the worst record, and that it is what it is, but right now, San Francisco doing what they're accustomed to doing. Paul Goldschmidt up to bat, only batting .227. He's going to actually strike out to Dustin May, and they almost have a clean inning, but first they got to get through Josh Donaldson. He's batting .394 to start this season so far, even a month and a half in. That is still impressive. He might get it up there a little bit more, but Josh Donaldson running down the line is actually going to force an error on Adios Garcia, the shortstop for the Denver Ball Eagles. And because of that error, a run is going to score for San Francisco. And that's how it goes whenever, you get the chance, you run down, you rush down that first baseline, you can make something happen, if you just put the ball in play. And that's exactly what happened here. So San Francisco, they're going to start off, with a 1-0 lead here as we check out the pitcher for San Francisco. Blake Snell is actually on the mound and, doing really well, shutting things down, start things off the first couple of innings. But Dustin May is also keeping up to a degree as well. He's going to get the strikeout there to start off the third inning. But a couple batters later, Joe Panic is at the plate. He's going to actually line this one out into the right center field gap. Neither Joe Panic or the runner at first, has that much speed, but going to try to go ahead and get home. The throw not being in time, though, so Joe Panic going to go ahead and get himself an RBI double to start this game off. And now Joe Panic, giving his team a 2-0 lead, as that does bring back up Josh Donaldson up to the plate once again, and just narrowly misses that ball. This still might carry out, though. It just makes it out to the warning track, though. But Joe Panic, with his RBI double, does go ahead and give them a 2-0 lead. But that being said, we'll see if the Denver Ball Eagles can strike back. They have struggled at the plate over the course of this season so far, only batting .232 as a team. That is one of the lowest averages in the USBL so far this season. But nice base hit here, trying to get something going with 2 outs, as Luis Garcia, he has been a bright spot in what has been a rough year for Denver so far. Able to extend his hitting streak up to 12 games, and then a couple batters later, Garcia actually going to try to make it home, and he is going to actually get there. So Denver, trying to make things interesting. They, cut the lead in half, and now it's only a 1-run difference, with Brandon Lowe giving an opportunity to go ahead and try to tie things up here, but it's going to ground out to the second baseman. Luis Oraza, making the play out there, but Austin Meadows, going to be able to bring in a run in for Denver. And, things are still pretty interesting, man. In the game of baseball, anybody can beat anybody when it's 162 games. You never know until you actually play the game, but it looks like San Francisco might be starting to take control a little bit, as Nicholas Castellanos, he sends that one deep out into right center field, his 7th home run of the season. There was almost a second home run here as well, but just barely missing the bat there. That's going to count as the 3rd out, but San Francisco, they easily get their run right back. But still, you got to give credit to this Denver Bald Eagles squad, man. They are still trying to fight back, as Kurt Caselli send this one deep out to left center field. and it is gone like a girl in a country song. The first home run of the season for Kurt Caselli. You'll love to absolutely see it, and that actually ties up the game because there was somebody on base as well. So don't look yet. We might have a little bit of an upset brewing here as Denver is playing tough. Got it all tied up at 3 apiece after 4 innings of play. And they even have more hits than San Francisco does. But, you know, we'll see if the timely hitting can come through. Here's Josh Donaldson's at the plate again. He's going to strike out once more. So Josh Donaldson coming in batting .394 into today's game. 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts as well. It's been a tough one for him, but not a tough one necessarily for Ronald Goldnalik, who's going to get a base hit right up to center field. That is going to also drive in a run, and San Francisco will go ahead and retake the lead once again. As Dustin May does leave the game, Chris Stratton is now in, trying to get some quality relief pitching in, and right now has not been going too terribly well. As Seth Beer is up at the plate once again, he lines this one out to right field, gets it past the right fielder, actually hits the wall. That's going to bring in another run in, an RBI double for Seth Beer, his second double of the season. And San Francisco continues to build the lead with Victor Reyes at the plate, batting 1 for 3. Tries to send this one out to right field, but it looks like it's going to be caught without too many issues. And so Denver stops the bleeding, but San Francisco does retake the lead. And San Francisco, the Seals, might be trying to take control here, as this is going to be a big moment for this Denver squad. The bullpen has certainly struggled this year, as Craig Stramman, he's at the mound for the Denver Bald Eagles, and one of his first batters, he gives up a 2-run shot to Paul Goldschmidt. It's his 6th home run of the season, and it's going to count as, add some runs on the board here once again. 6-3 game, as we see another base hit, trying to get out, but going to count as an out for the third baseman, as San Francisco, looking to strike back and really show that they are truly the better team. But here's the thing, this young Denver team, they actually came out to play today. I gotta give them credit where credit is due, as Luis Garcia, gets it a hard hit out to third base, almost able to turn a double play despite that, but it's going to count as an error. So wow, it was a tough one for Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson has really struggled in this game, but at least his team is still winning, to say the least. And it's going to bring in at least, could be a run. He's going to actually go for it, but the throw being offline. Denver gets another run on the board. And it's only a 2-run game all of a sudden. Adam Simber being in a little bit of trouble, so they actually take him out. Shane Green comes into the game. He's only pitched his 8th appearance so far, but has not allowed a single run yet this season. So he's looking to shut the door on Matt Chapman and gets him to strike out. He was window shopping because he was just looking. And that was a huge one for Shane Green. A huge strikeout that ends the bottom of the 7 for Denver. And so the Bald Eagles left a couple men on base. The tying run was at first and will be stranded there as well. San Francisco also continuing to hit this ball hard, here in, the Mountain Yard, in Denver. That great atmosphere, that high atmosphere that Denver has, allows the ball to carry hard. Definitely a hitter-friendly park, and we're seeing that here today as well, as Joe Panik gets another, multi-base hit. This time, just taking it out a yard. A 2-run shot for him. That's the 5th home run of the season. As Paul Goldschmidt, he's up at the plate once again, and he's going to send this one deep as well. Goldschmidt with his 2nd home run of the day and his 7th of the season, and it carries 451 feet, as Denver has to go ahead and go to its bullpen. Juan Nicasio coming in, dealing with Josh Darnoldson, and Darnoldson right in that struggle bus. 0 for 5 now on the day. His third strikeout too. It's been a tough day for him. Is now trying to get another strikeout, this time on Nicholas Castellanos, and gets that one too. Nicasio on fire so far. 2 batters, 2 strikeouts. Can he make it a third? No, it's not another strikeout, but it looks like it's going to be hit up into the air, and fielder is going to be actually able to catch up to it and make a play on the ball. So Nicasio, does what he needs to do to make sure that, game is secured, but John Curtis, though, will come into the game and try to close things out here. A nice base hit, though, as Denver is not going to give up a foul fight. Good, trying to stretch it into a double, and is in time. So Denver with 2 outs. Marco Alonzia gets the double. And San Francisco with a quick pull here. Aaron Bumner is going to come into the game now, trying to stop a little bit of the rest of his bleeding and not wasting any time, striking out the first batter that he sees. And San Francisco, they had a tougher matchup than anticipated, but will defeat the Denver Bald Eagles by a score of 9-4. But then we go ahead and shift ourselves over to the East Coast as we take a look at some action between the Columbus Jets and Nashville Blues, which is a interconference matchup. The Columbus Jets coming from the AL Central and the Nashville Blues coming from the NL Central. And I'll tell you what, both teams have kind of struggled a little bit. Both teams under 500 going into this one, and you can see why they're trying to steal second, but Caleb Smith done saw it. He basically picks him off, and that's going to be counted as a caught stealing. But Jose Abreu, he does a walk on base, so there will still be a runner on first as Austin Riley now comes to the plate for the Columbus Jets, and he's going to strike out here as well. So now Jock Peterson coming to the plate on the interstate as of right now, batting 182 so far this season. That will help a little bit, able to get a base hit out into right field. Jose Abreu trying to go ahead and score, and just barely beats the tag, and that's the first run of the game going to the Columbus Jets. But Julio Rodriguez, he's batting 9th with 247 so far, trying to bring a couple more guys home, but just wanted to go ahead and do some window shopping instead because he ends up striking out looking. But even with that strikeout, the Columbus Jets will go ahead and strike first. They are up 1-0. We'll see how the Nashville Blues can go ahead and respond, and that's one way to do it. A no-doubter out in left center field, and it is gone. Home run for Hunter Renfroe, his 5th of the season. Got that thing out there, 424 feet, and it's going to keep on coming still. Very next batter, another hard hit ball. This actually gets stuck on the wall a little bit, but still only will count as a double. But nice hit though for Eddie Rosario. So now another runner on second base is Rowdy Tellez. That's a heck of a name, by the way. He's up to bat, tries to bring him home, and that's going to be another no-doubter. Another home run hit out into right center field. Rowdy with his 4th home run, and the crowd certainly getting rowdy after that hit as well. But we got a little bit of controversy. Jakeem Diaz felt like he should have walked on that next at bat, but Blue disagreed, so full count, and does strikes out swinging. You could tell he wasn't really happy about that one, but hey, Blue has final say. Gotta listen to Blue, even though you may disagree with him, and sometimes they may be wrong. Sometimes they don't have perfect strike zones. Michael Chavez, though, doesn't need to rely on Blue. He's just gonna hit a home run himself, as Nashville just with a huge inning so far. 4 runs scored in the second. That is more than a response, trying to decimate this Columbus Jets offense. And they certainly did just that, as Columbus finds himself down 4-1 after just a couple of innings. So We'll see if Columbus can try to get back into this game. That's one way to do it as well. Yes, another home run here. This time, it's Kevin Pillar, his third home run of the season. As Jose Abreu comes to the plate now, 1 for 1 so far in the day. Strikes out swinging. Caleb Smith gets the four-seamer past him. Only threw 90 miles an hour, though, so not even that hard of a thrown four-seam fastball. That's another four-seamer that went for 91. As Raul Basato comes to the plate, also on the interstate right now, only batting 146. Made contact with the ball. That's better than nothing, but doesn't even make it out of the infield. It's going to be counted as the third out, but Kevin Pillar with that 2-run shot that gets Columbus back within 1 run. But can the Columbus Jets get a stop? You know, it seems like they have struggled just a little bit in the early part of this game, you know, getting some stops on defense, and it's going to keep going here as Robbie Ray just continues to absolutely struggle on the mound as Whit Merrifield just obliterates that ball, gets it easily over the center field fence. Good for 421 feet, and there's another hard hit ball as well, but that's going to die before it gets to the warning track though. Nashville gets another run on the board, and two teams that aren't necessarily known for the offense, you know, might be set up for a pretty offensive fireworks kind of day, you know. Still plenty of baseball left to play, of course. You know, still have to see how the next few innings play out. But right now, if the trend continues like this, it's going to be a long day for Columbus. Daryl Cooler hits a 2-run shot. And actually, Columbus pulls their starter early. So Tyler Kolak, he's now going to go ahead and come into the game here. You know, trying to at least stop the bleeding a little bit. And that's one way to help out a reliever. Help him get into a rhythm. You know, I'm asking him to be that long reliever for you guys. Get that double play, get him a little bit more comfortable. As now, top of the 5th inning, Ronald Acuna Jr., he's at the plate. He's going to strike out swinging, trying to chase the slider. You know, got a little bit full right there. Was probably expecting a fastball, but you guys already know that was not a fastball whatsoever. But Jose Abreu, a couple batters later, gets a hold of this one, nearly gets out of here. Trying to push it to second base, but slides in and makes it in on time. So Jose Abreu with his 11th double of the season, and that's most among all Columbus Jets players. By a long shot too, he's been doing a really good job of trying his best to carry the offense. You know, that's why Columbus has a decent record, despite the fact that they have an even worse batting average than Denver does. We saw Denver in the last game. You know, Jose Abreu is a big reason why they even are hovering around 500. But, I mean, the rest of the team's got to pick up the pace a little bit. We'll see if they are capable of doing that. Is Jock Peterson, 1 for 2 so far. He's going to now be 2 for 3 as he sends this one deep down center field. And it is gone. Home run for Jock Peterson, the 6th home run of the season. As now it's back to just a 2-run game. As Julio Rodriguez at the plate, 1 for 2 so far. He gets a hold of one as well. And you want to talk about going back to back like Drake? How about that? 2 home runs in a row for the Columbus Jets. And that's going to bring Caleb Ferguson trying to stop the bleeding. 13th appearance so far this season. As he pitches to Corey Seager, who gets a hold of that one as well. Nice hit. That's out in the warning track, but just a leaping grab over the center field wall. And that is actually going to prevent Columbus from tying, but they are back in this game. The question still persists. Can the Columbus bullpen come through and get some stops on defense? Ken Contrail comes into the game for the first time. You know, try to, you know, be a little bit better than the rest of the Columbus Jets pitchers, because it has not been a good one thus far, and is again not a good start for the bullpen, giving up a double to Julian Chavez, who is able to go ahead and extend his hitting streak. He now has a 7-game hitting streak now. As now Whit Merrifield up at the plate, 3-1 count, send this one deep to left field. He hits this one A moonshot. You can't even see the ball. Looking to get it out to Jeff Bezos. Another 2-run shot. And Nashville extends their lead. Now a 3-run game. And then after that, another home run. Cal Quantrill just out here being down bad right now. Gives up a home run to Eddie Rosario. So bad, in fact, that they pull him right away. He doesn't even get a full inning in. Sean Gilmartin has to come in and, try to slow things down and does the trick, able to stop the bleeding. But it always seems like it's just a little too late, as it's kind of like those seesaw things where Columbus tries to claw back into the game, but then Nashville just comes out of nowhere with like a big, like 2 home run inning or like a 3 home run inning, it seems like, to extend the lead back out to where it usually was. So, I mean, Columbus, they got a lot of work left to be done, but this will help them out. A double to, with 2 outs left in the inning. Maybe that's what they need. 4th double of the season for Colton Wong, as that will force Nashville to go into the bullpen once again. Justin Wilson going to come in and face Corey Seager. 1 for 4 so far today. 6 homers, 14 ribbies. He gets a pitch that he is happy to get a hold of. Not a home run necessarily, but that is going to at least bring 1 run in. The second run, though, going to be called out. Colton Wong trying to extend that into a, get another run on the board. Got a little too greedy. And that is also going to end the inning as well. That's probably one of the golden rules of baseball. You don't want your first out at the plate, and you don't want your last out to be at the plate either. It's a momentum killer. And Nashville surely has that momentum now. Got runners at second and third base, and there's still nobody out yet here in the bottom of the 8th inning, as Michael Chavez, he gets a hold of another pitch. This goes deep to left center field. This might drop in as a home run. No, it gets off the wall, but despite that, it's going to be considered a double. Michael Chavez, gets it the lead even bigger. Roberto Osuna comes into the game now, his 11th appearance of the season. He has a phenomenal ERA, 0.6. Where was this guy when Columbus needs some stops? That's all I'm asking. As Roberto Osuna, able to get the first guy he faces out, and then Acuna Jr. out in center field. Makes a nice play for the pitcher and stops the bleeding once again. But Columbus with an upfield battle. Down by 5 runs. They need to get him all of this inning. But that being said, it's not going to happen. Nashville closes the door. And the Nashville Blues are going to end up winning this game by a final score of 12-7. Whit Merrifield named the player of the game. And that will go ahead and leave the final. Yes, I'm talking about the final game of today's USBL episode to wrap up the first half of the month of May. And we have a divisional matchup. This time, completely out in the East, Coach Lance Lynn and the Baltimore Stone Crabs taking on Luke Lever of the Boston Quakers. Both teams that are hovering over 500, and the AL East has been a really interesting division thus far. Nobody in the AL East is too much under 500, but also nobody has necessarily taken control just yet. We'll see if that could change here potentially. As we go ahead now, see Luke Weaver get some work in, get some strikeouts to start the inning. But, with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 2nd, we see our first double. This could turn to a triple depending on how quickly they get it in. They thankfully hit the cutoff man and try to get it in quickly. Joey Bartow gets his 2nd double of the season. Baltimore now has the top of the order once again. Barry Gisaldo up at the plate, batting .202, and he's going to get a hold of this one as well out in the left center field. It's not a ground rule double either, and that's going to bring in Joey Bart for the very first run of the game. An RBI double for Gisaldo, and the Baltimore Stone Crabs will take a 1-0 lead with Adam Ian at the plate. 0 for 1 so far, and it looks like it's going to be 0 for 2 hits that right to the second baseman. It's a routine ground ball. Could have been a double play if there was a guy at first with 1 out, but that was not the case. And now we get into the top of the 5th inning. More of a defensive matchup than some of the other games in this episode, and easy to see why. Lance Lynn, one of the best pitchers in the AL, so he's having their best start thus far, but that's going to change as shortly after that graphic went up, Mookie Betts hit a solo shot, and matter of fact, they pull off Lance Lynn pretty early. He doesn't even get 5 innings in, and even though it's not, Lance Lynn only allowed 1 run in this game, it still won't count as a quality start. And Dylan File gives up a base hit, and that's actually going to be charged to Lance Lynn. So now, if Baltimore doesn't tie it at any point in this game, Lance Lynn, who actually did not pitch that bad, by the way, he will be charged with the loss. So that's something, you hate to see it if you're a Baltimore Stone Crabs fan, but no more runs score. Boston Quakers, do get a couple of runs on the board here in the top of the 5th inning. And now the Boston Quakers will go ahead and go to the bullpen. Luke Weaver had a pretty good day today, not going to lie. But, again, same problem with him, was not very efficient with his pitches. So, looks like it's going to turn into a bullpen kind of game here as well. As Barry Gasaldo, he actually is going to go ahead. He steals second base. So now a runner in scoring position here. Adam Eden still at the plate. He's going to send this one out to left center field, and it gets out of the ballpark. Home run for Adam Eden, his 2nd home run of the season. And now the Baltimore Stone Crabs, they have officially taken the lead for the very first time, at least since the 2nd inning. And looks like they might be trying to extend it here as well. Another base hit out on the right center field. And this is going to bring a runner to second and third base. No, he's going for home, and actually does make it there. And that will count. So that gives Didi Gregorius an RBI double, his 4th double of the season. Boston will be going to the bullpen again. This time calling on Mike Mayers. They're trying to close out the 5th inning, as he will be taking on Will Myers. He's 0 for 2 so far on the day. Hard hit ball, but it looks like Gumba might be able to track it. No, that's actually going to drop. Will Myers with a double himself, and that's going to make it a 3-run game. And Baltimore, they are having a huge bottom of the 5th inning. We'll see if Ryan Braun can keep it going. Next batter going to strike out, and that will eventually end the 5th inning. But Baltimore with a huge one here, and the biggest lead of the day, up by 3. As we'll go ahead now and move it to the top of the 7th inning with Edwin Rios up to the plate. He's going to strike out swinging. But a couple batters later, Gregory Polanco at the plate. 0 for 3 so far in the day. That's a good way to end the hitless streak, though. Taking it deep to right field. It is a home run, the 2nd one of the season for Gregory Polanco. And it's just a 1-run game. And we'll see if Jose Iglesias could potentially come in and maybe tie this game up. There's a runner on first base here with 2 outs. And Jose Iglesias, nice base hit out to right center field. This could be the tying run, and it is. This game now all of a sudden tied up at 5 apiece, and Baltimore will have to go to the bullpen, looking at Paul Sewald to try to go ahead and make sure that nothing else gets scored here. But on his first at bat, batter faced gives up a home run, and that makes it a 2-run lead. Another home run for Mookie Betts. As we go ahead now, top of the 7th inning, Max Muncy looking to keep the good vibes going for the Boston Quakers. And he sends this one deep to right field. It's a no-doubter home run. Boston, it's home run number 7. As Paul DeJong now 1 for 3. Looking to keep this going as well, as Boston has certainly rallied and then some here in the top of the 7th inning. But that is going to be a ground out to the shortstop, though. And now Baltimore finds itself down by 3 runs. And the thing is, Baltimore couldn't even get anything going in the 7th inning. So now Chase Fry comes into the game now, trying to make sure that it stays a 3-run game. Make sure at the end of the day that it still stays to a point where with just one swing of the bat, you can still tie this game or take the lead potentially. A tall task for Chase Fry as he faces Grandal. He's 0 for 3, but it's going to strike out swinging. So far, so good, though, for Chase Fry. As Willie Calhoun comes to the plate, he's been feeling himself so far. 3 for 4. Make it 4 for 5, potentially. As that's deep out to right field, and it's another home run. This time, Willie Calhoun with his 10th homer of the season. And it brings up Gregory Polanco. 1 for 4. Has a home run in his last at-bat. Make it 2 in a row. And that's going to be a home run. He only had 1 home run coming into this game the entire season. And now Gregory Polanco, twice as many home runs on the same day. And it's been big for Boston. They have really pulled away from Baltimore. Now a 5-run lead separating the Boston Quakers and the Baltimore Stone Crabs. As Matt Grace will come in. He does not have a single save this entire season, but got a 5-run lead to work with. A lot of comfort to work with, and Matt Grace will not have any trouble whatsoever. Saves the game technically for the Boston Quakers in what could be a big AL East matchup here potentially. Boston wins 10-5 as their final score. So we're about a month and a half into the inaugural USBL season. I think it's about time to go ahead and see how each of these teams are doing, not from a standings and record standpoint, but more so from a, statistical standpoint, starting with that batting average. The Chicago Freeze, who also are tied for the best record in the league right now, they currently have the best batting average, and their top 3 guys, not necessarily known as superstars, but I mean, look at this top 3: Xander Bogaerts, Alex Verdugo, and Michael Brantley, all batting over 300 as of right now. Xander Bogaerts actually batting 369 right now to start the season. That's a really good way to start things off. But the New Orleans Kings and the Washington Senators actually aren't too far behind themselves. The Kings are in 2nd place, batting 278 as a team, led by Justin Turner, currently batting 313 on the season, with the Washington Senators in 3rd place, and they got Bryson Stott and Josh Reddick, both batting over 300, and that's despite the fact that, these guys aren't known as stars, hardly seen as everyday USBL players at 72 and 70 overall. Either ways, but good batting as a team. And then of course Michael Conforto for the Washington Senators is also producing well too. Meanwhile, shifting down to the very bottom, and the Columbus Jets so far have simply been riding the struggle bus. There's some bad teams down here for sure, but Columbus Jets, they only have 2 guys above 250. That's Colton Long and Jose Abreu. When your 3rd highest batting average, at least among all qualified batters, is 211, you're going to have yourself a really bad time. Peterson only batting 211 right now. It has not been a good look. He's actually cold as ice. As of right now, it has certainly not been a good look whatsoever. Meanwhile, the most important thing on offense and getting runs in as of right now, the Minnesota Ducks are currently in the lead. They have scored 188 runs as of the recording of this video, with the Philadelphia Patriots as well as the New York Knights, not too far behind. All 3 of these teams, by the way, are teams that are currently leading their respective divisions. However, again, at the very bottom, despite the batting average lows of the Columbus Jets, they are not in last place in runs scored. That's the Nashville Blues, who are a tad under 500 actually. They've only scored 117 runs over the course of this season, with the Milwaukee Bears not too far ahead. They've only scored 120 runs themselves, and they're currently sitting 29th in the USBL. The Columbus Jets, though, they found a way sort of, to get some runs in. They're seeing it. Nothing like the home run ball. As we go ahead and check out the home run stats here, who's in the top and bottom. New York Knights, got the lead right now. They've already hit 58 home runs as a team, with Nolan Arenado and Mike Moustakas leading the way. Nolan Arenado, I think, is leading one of the league leaders in home runs, has 12 home runs. Mike Moustakas is 10. Jesse Winker not doing too shabby either. He has 8 home runs on the season. The Phoenix Firebirds also aren't too far behind. They have 53 home runs so far on the year. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the Louisville Colonials, the Jacksonville, actually there's quite a few teams down here. Surprisingly, the Chicago Freeze, they're tied for 27th right now. They're not known for their home run ball. This despite the fact that they go ahead and get themselves, they're leading the league, I think, in batting average, but not doing it by the home run ball. The Louisville Colonials are down here though, last place with 29 home runs, led by Tommy Pham. Let's see who else is down here. The Jacksonville Suns, they're 29th with 31 home runs. Milwaukee Bears, no surprise, they're down here. They only have 32 home runs as well, tied with the Chicago Freeze, but also not getting the job done with batting average. And then let's see, time for 24th is actually a freeway tie, and that's the Nashville Blues. San Antonio Outlaws, despite 10 of those home runs being from Javier Baez, no one else is really hitting home runs on that San Antonio club. And then the Aurora Lightning, also tied for 24th. Checking out stolen bases, and it's been a runaway thing for the Louisville Colonials, who have 40 stolen bases so far for the season, led by Trey Turner, who, keep in mind, we're about a month and a half in the season. Trey Turner already with 12 stolen bases. You absolutely love to see that. Meanwhile, at the very bottom is the Los Angeles Saints, who only have 10 stolen bases the entire season. Keep in mind, Trey Turner has 12. Meanwhile, the Columbus Jets are 29th with 14 stolen bases. And then the Denver Bald Eagles have 15 total stolen bases so far this season. A couple more things that I want to look at is ERA, and as of right now, the Aurora Lightning are having a phenomenal ERA kind of season. 3.06 ERA, that leads everyone in the USBL, led by Zach Pelzak, who is just barely over 2 so far. Meanwhile, in last place, and this is a big reason why the Denver Bald Eagles have struggled so much so far this season, the Denver Bald Eagles have a 5.62 ERA as a team, so that's, more than 1 run every 2 innings, just to keep in mind, what's going on. And their offense isn't that good either, so that's probably the reason why they do have one of the worst records in the USBL so far. Dustin May has a 4.59 ERA. It's just not so good stuff from the Denver Bald Eagles. And then finally, fielding percentage here for the USBL squads. Actually, it's a pretty close race as of right now, but the New York Knights just barely have the edge. They're currently in first place with a 99.4% batting average, but I mean, after that, it's really close. Really splitting hairs. Not really much of a difference per se, I guess, in defense, when you have 10 teams in, fielding 99% of your balls. So that's really good to see. Overall, some good defense being played. Even last place, the Houston Astronauts, still 98%, there's some good defense being played around the USBL overall. Guys, so that is going to end up wrapping up the early May episode here for the USBL. And look how close we are to draft day. We're only 24 days away. So what will probably happen is next episode, the late May episode, will probably be the last of the gameplay episodes, and then the following episode will be the inaugural USBL draft. If you are a channel member, you should see also the same day that this video goes out, a community tab, let me know what to customize your custom prospect here for year number, I guess going into year number 2, as well on top of it, which, by the way, if you're not a channel member, I highly encourage that as well, because, whenever you're a channel member, everything that you contribute as a channel member, that actually goes towards, you know, improving stuff here on the YouTube channel. And then I guess in the late May episode, you'll see a pull out in the Discord as well that I have. So if you're also not a Discord member, you know, make sure you go check that out as well. But yeah, man, that's how I guess the next month is going to play out here in the USBL. It's been a good one here, man. So if you enjoyed the action as well as are excited about the future of the USBL, I do need you guys to do me a favor, smash that like button, and then also leave me a comment and subscribe to the channel if you have to be brand new. I would truly appreciate it. This is JohnJake Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.